Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Mid-South Wrestling Review Series for the 16th of uh, November 2000. Sure, I wish. 1985. And we are fast approaching the end of the Mid-South run on the network. I don't know how many post-network things I can find with UWF slash the 86-87. I would love to find stuff from the 70s and earlier in 81 and 1980, but I don't think I'm going to find that much of it. Anyway, Jim Duggan supports Butch Reed against Ric Flair, and then Duggan comments on Reed versus Flair in a continued way. It's pretty simple. Reed got jumped out by Slater and Buzz Sawyer at the bequest of of Ric Flair. That eventually leads to Ric Flair being forced to defend against Ted DiBiase. Hacksaw Duggan also in the same episode says he never forgets what happened to his wife Deborah at the hands of Slater and Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer. Flair and DiBiase for the NWA Heavyweight Championship, but not before DiBiase had been laid out, and that was considered a pretty big deal. The mini benefit of this match is that really, DiBiase, who by this point they had said in commentary had been waiting over a year to get, maybe a year and a half to get an opportunity at the NWA Championship. DiBiase sent out to the floor. Flair is stomping around, making as much chaos as he can, brawling with DiBiase, sends him back into the ring. It's relatively simple. DiBiase is taped up. He was laid out and is completely covered in blood during the entire match. Big backdrop. Doctors had told DiBiase not to fight. The nature of, turning DiBiase babyface off of this has to be there. Flair manages to hit a chop and then takes him over. Hits a leg drop there, and ultimately there's a shove off of the referee. Flair with a kick, and then manages to go at it. It's tossed to the outside. Flair, continues to dominate DiBiase. I assume this leads to him being turned babyface. Chops and more chops. Flair and DiBiase, I think, would have been a good feud at some point somewhere. I don't know if they ever feuded in Georgia or at other places in the 70s wouldn't have worked. That would have been Harley Race, but the sheer number of Flair versus DiBiase matches is certainly not enough. The suplex back in. DiBiase again drenched in blood during the whole clips of the match. Abdominal stretch by DiBiase, falls back, goes for the 1-2-3. The referee out of position here. I actually wonder what would have been like if Ted DiBiase had won the championship. Anyway, DiBiase with the back body drop, shots by Flair. Flair with the chop, and then goes to the top of the head there. DiBiase again manages several chops and stays right on Flair in the corner. Doesn't get all he wants on it, but gets enough. Flair does the Flair flop away from DiBiase. DiBiase has been dominant during the entire run here. And some chops. Flair goes to the outside, goes to the top turnbuckle. Obviously, DiBiase hits him with the punch and then the toss from the top. That's not a big surprise there. DiBiase with the power slam. Looks like he's going to win here. And that does not go according to plan. DiBiase, who had been practicing the figure four for several years, actually hooks the figure four on Flair. Flair gets a rope break, relatively simply put. DiBiase manages to spin things around. Flair kicks DiBiase off. DiBiase goes backwards over the top rope, hits himself on the barricade. The referee stops the chaos from occurring. Dick Murdoch makes his way out, helps DiBiase up, but then manages to punch him. Looks like he's going to help him up. Manages to take DiBiase out. DiBiase and Murdoch have a history going all the way back to when DiBiase broke into wrestling. Murdoch with a brainbuster on the floor of DiBiase. Then we go to the Bruise Brothers against Ricky Starr and Sean O'Reilly. Not a match worth worrying too terribly much about here. Obviously, Ricky Starr and O'Reilly do the honors for the Bruise Brothers. Bruise Brothers, as I've mentioned in previous weeks, a relatively nondescript tag team who really don't have a whole lot going on, to be completely honest. Punch, punch, kick, kick, basic stuff. Big splash by one of the Bruise Brothers and a victory there. Match next up is Nightmare and Gilbert versus Constance and Jackson. Nightmare continues to be under the auspices of Sir Oliver Humperdinck. Gilbert doesn't need that benefit. Steve Constance and Jackson are obviously trying to gain as much of an advantage as they can. They've only got about 6 minutes going into this match, and then there's a mini test. Anyway, Gilbert tries to go for a hip toss, gets backdropped over instead to tag off to Ted Allen. Allen comes in, does the brawling thing. I still think the Nightmare was better with the mask in the sense that he was given more credibility when he was masked. Hard shot by the benefit of the Nightmare. Tag off to Gilbert. Gilbert with a back elbow. Gilbert continues to go as hard as he can and ultimately gets things going his way. Short shot by Ricky Starr. Constance comes back into the ring. Clothesline by Nightmare, and then a hot shot by Gilbert. Ted DiBiase, after the match with Ric Flair, needs to be helped to the back. Obviously, we see a couple of minutes of him being checked on with just about everybody in the building. The danger to DiBiase is made extremely clear, and virtually everyone in the building is worried about DiBiase. We will be back with more right after this.